2020 was a terrible year for all, even me and my family. 3 aunts get the plague, 2 of them are old and diabetic, and we were so worried about them. My mother got sick too. She was 3 months bedridden. I was 17 at this point, so my big sis went to home to take care of the mom and the house. She has 3 children with 5, 7, and 9 years old respectively. Sometimes I gotta take care of them while my sister goes to the grocery store or does errands. I hated all the situations. Nothing can be worse, right? Nope, it got even worse. My youngest aunt died and the whole family got broke. My mom got depressed and I didn't know how to feel. All between June and August. 2021 has arrived and something feels weird. My mother recovered, but my sister still did not leave. She and her brats put the house upside down, the kids running here and there. The house was always dirty and all of them slept in my room while my mother slept alone. I had to listen to 4 people snore for 14 months. Sleeping late at night and waking up early for my nephew's online classes at full volume, it was really a nightmare. I told my feeling to my mother, but she always says, "It's your sister, you have to love her." It was a total horror. We have real fights for stupid things like where's the TV control, or I'll let my daughters take your collection figures, it's just toys, or I have to go to a party, take care of my kids, and stuff like that. I was at my limits. I always had these types of problems all my life and I was tired. I decided to get a job and start saving to get independence. I tried to tell my mother, but she laughed in my face and said, "Haha, you think it's that easy? You can't." 4 months later, I gathered enough to start a new life apart from my toxic family. Several months ago, one of my cousins fought with her mother and left in a fit of rage. I went to her apartment, the first little room that she found at the moment. She didn't have any money and she didn't have a fridge. I thought, I'm gonna do better than this. I don't care about any fight. I will find the correct moment to leave. And yeah, my mother always found a reason to yell at me, but I just listened and down my head thinking, calm down, babe. In some days we'll be in our own space. Until someone stole my savings fund. That day, I saw red. I get angry at how I never get it in all my life. Still innocent, I call my mother crying and accusing my sister stealing of me. EM, calm down, keep looking, the money must be there. OP, no, it's not there. I'll die if I don't find my money. I'm sure that my ugly sister Oh, please, are you really crazy for this? I'll return it to you when I get back from my job. You? Did you steal from me? I just borrowed it. That day, I saw red. I got angry at how I can never get in my whole life. I don't remember how many blasphemies I spat that day, but I can say that I felt like 18 years of shit repressed in a diarrhea of rage. Here's a new game you can play with them. It's called Limited Contact, and here's how you play this game. You limit contact with them. Major holidays you go over, and with the game there's a side quest within the game called Who Cares? Now in this game we all know that EM is going to be talking up everyone, but you just nod and occasionally go, "Wow, sounds exciting." Now with this side quest, when you talk, make it monotone, just no real excitement about it. Oh, it'll be a fun game for one player too, but other than that, no real contact with them. And if you want to mess with them, tell them that if they need money, ask them to get, say, they need $15,000, ask them to give you 32. When they ask why, just say complete nonsense. Am I wrong to think that in those hard times you should have helped them? The whole "I borrowed the money" was wrong, but I truly think that since it was hard times, things had to change and it was unfortunate, but was it really right to hate someone for having a hard time and asking for help? I mean, for example, when the sister brought the kids in, I'm assuming because she couldn't afford an appearance of her own, should he really have hated his kids for being kids? Next story. This story dates back to my 2nd or 3rd year working inside a private compound. This compound has a gym, pool, and tennis court, all of which I'm assigned to take care of. I mostly stay in the gym on desk and keep an eye out on the pool and tennis court and enforce some rules, of which is a really important one that has been repeated many times in emails, and it's do not leave any personal belongings by the pool side after you have left. This rule is really important due to the constant guests people bring to the pool, and of course, having a random float or towels all over the place isn't a good look. The story began when one family that has broken the rule a few times leave a giant smiley face floaty by the poolside that I encountered when opening the gym. Normally, I would tell them to take it, but I was told to confiscate the floaty and deflate it to fit in our storage room. So I spent about an hour laying on said floaty for it to deflate. Context was due to it being too big, I couldn't simply put the weights on it or leave it to deflate alone. If so, it would have taken a few days. The second day, one of the parents' children decided to ask about it. I'll be using K, kid, wasn't entitled but spoiled, and BB, big brother of the kid, and last but not least, EP, entitled parent. K, hey, I'm sorry, but have you seen a big smiley floaty? I needed to play with my friends. Me, I'm sorry, but we've confiscated the floaty. K, why'd you do that? It's my floaty. Me, well, we've told you many times to not leave it by the poolside, and this is not the first time, so if you wish to get it back, you have to talk to the owner of the compound. Side note, the owner and his wife, who is my boss, are the ones who enforced the rules and told me to do what I did. In comes Big Brother. BB. Hello, I want to ask about a big floaty that has a smiley face drawn on. My sister says you have it. Me. Hello, yes, we do, and it was confiscated and put away since you left it on the poolside, even though we have a rule to not do so. BB. Can't you just give it back? Me. No, your parents will have to talk to the owner of the compound. He left, and the other day the parents came. EP, insert my name. My kids told me you confiscated their floaty. You have no right to do so. Give it back. Me. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. As I've told your kids many times, we confiscated because you left it by the poolside, and we've informed you multiple times that it isn't allowed, and you have broken the rule more than once. It was demanded of me to confiscate it and not to give it back without the owner's permission. EP starts to raise their voice. This is not your place or your job to do. These are our property and we can do whatever we want. You can't just take our belongings and hoard it without your permission. And hoard it without our permission. Me. If you wish to complain about this, you're more than welcome to speak to the owner, as I've told your children if you want to retrieve it, you could have done so directly and perhaps something could have been worked out. They left, and the other day I got a call from my boss while laughing at the matter and telling me that I did a good job and to just give it back for now. Their EP were pissed that it was deflated, so they demanded for us to reflate it, but we told them to do it themselves. What a great boss. The family's lucky was stored and given back. At the facility that my nephew works at, anything left overnight is up for grabs the next day for employees. Something like this would have likely ended up in some teenager's possession to be used to sled down muddy, snowy hills until it sprung a leak. Next story. I am 28F, my mom is 57F, I'm also on mobile. My mom and I have always had a complicated relationship. She has always made everything about her, made herself the victim in literally any situation that she can, and she always takes everything so personally. The last few years have been especially rough with her. I moved out of her house and into my apartment at the beginning of 2019, and I was so happy to be able to finally have some space between us. But she would consistently cross boundaries. She would invite herself over anytime she wanted, she would show up unannounced, and she would get upset if I didn't return her text fast enough, or if I didn't answer my phone when she called. I've always felt bad for saying no to her, and she always makes me feel guilty and makes me feel like I have to justify and explain myself to her. I'm over it, honestly. I'm tired. My mental health has been particularly rough the last year and a half. I've been pretty flaky, I'll admit. I go through periods where I don't want to talk to anyone at all, and so I don't. The only person who gets upset with this is my mom. She takes it as a personal attack and makes me feel like I'm a terrible person for not texting back. Today, things came to a head. She called me about something unimportant, and it just turned into this huge fight where she's saying that I always ignore her. I never want to talk to her, I'm always upset with her, etc. I told her that it's not the case, that maybe I don't immediately text her back, but I always get back to her. I told her I've been sick for the last 3 weeks and I didn't feel like answering my phone for anyone, not just her. She proceeds to say, well, I'm sorry that I love you and I care about you. I'm sorry if that adds to your stress. I told her that that's not what stresses me out, and it's how she reacts when I don't immediately give back to her. She then said that she and my sister are both tired of me ignoring them and acting like they're a burden. I was pretty shocked by that because my sister and I are very close, and she has never said anything to me about that. Well, it turns out my mom was just straight up lying about my sister saying anything at all to her. She was just trying to make me feel worse about everything. I told my mom that maybe we should just not talk to each other for a while. She said I don't want someone else that I love to cut me off. I don't know. I've wanted to go no contact with her for a while, but I feel guilty. I feel like a bad person for wanting this, and I'm sure it's just because that's how she made me feel, and it's really hard to get past it. Has anyone else gone through this or something similar? Any advice is greatly appreciated. Edit. I'd like to thank all of you who have commented so far. You've really helped me realize that I have nothing to feel guilty about and that going no contact is the best choice for myself for now. I've blocked her on Facebook and I've blocked her phone number. It feels weird right now, but I'm also relieved. I don't want someone else that I love to cut me off. The fact that your mom has had someone else cut her off is concerning. I would say to follow your instincts, what is best for you. I would also suggest finding a good therapist or counselor if you don't have one. From what you describe, it sounds like you're dealing with depression and getting help can make such a big difference in your life. I wish you the best of luck. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be worth it. Totally been through it. Many years ago, I cut my family off. They're narcissists, very manipulative. I gave them another chance and it proved once again why I went NC the first time. I felt super guilty about going NC, and what helped is my friend's mom telling me that saying you can choose your friends but you can't choose your family is bullshit. You absolutely can. Choose your mental health, choose healthy people to be your family, look out for number one. Think about therapy too. It helps a lot with the guilt and gives reassurance. My new family doesn't make me feel guilty, doesn't manipulate me, and loves me unconditionally. Blood doesn't always make a family, love does. I think it's normal to feel guilty. Your parents have conditioned you since before you can remember to hold their ideas, and feel guilty anytime you don't agree. I think your mom is an extreme case though. I've been no contact with my dad's side for about 5 years, and my mom's side for about a year. I'm mostly guilty about the possibility of my grandparents dying and never seeing them. Other than that, I don't feel guilty anymore. I'm 30 and my whole life I was abused and neglected by all of my family. Now I have to tell my mom why I don't talk to her. She pretends she doesn't understand. She brushes shit under the rug for her Christian family, gaslights me, and denies my past trauma. She completely disowned my sibling and rarely reaches out to me. Just stop thinking your parents are good people. Next story. This story is actually back from when my parents were still together. I was maybe 7 to 8 and my little sis was 5 to 6. The story is about the time my sister and I had head lice. There's really no other way to say this. My mother is lazy. She'll do anything to not have to work. She had me cleaning the bathroom and doing the laundry or any cleanup from the time I was 8. One thing she hated above all else was brushing our hair, or in this case, combing out eggs. Her way to get around both was to shave our heads. She took us both to the kitchen and sat us down on chairs and shaved us to the scalp. It took 3 years for my sister's hair to grow back and 2 for me to be back to where I was pre-haircut. Even after our hair grew back, we endured bullying and name-callings, telling us we were boys. My aunts have still not forgiven her for that. They were angry on our behalf and have made this well known. But the one part that lets me look back at this and just smile just a little is that she did this against my dad's wishes. He was pissed because she went behind his back after he told her in no uncertain terms that he wouldn't allow that. He was pissed because she went behind his back after he told her in no uncertain terms that he wouldn't allow that. So he got revenge on us. He made her sit in the same chair and shaved her head too. She never tried to do that again. Suddenly picking eggs out of her daughter's hair for a couple hours wasn't as big a deal. Edit, apparently it's not as common everywhere to have head lice, sorry for the mistake. When I was growing up in my school district, it was a big problem. I assumed it was the same elsewhere. Edit 2. Everyone commenting on what my dad did, I've been letting him know all your awesome messages. He says thank you and that they've made his day. When my daughter was in first grade, she got head lice. She had thick hair, a little down past her shoulders. I got shampoo, combed her hair. It took a very long time. Had the school nurse recheck. All was good. A few weeks later, I saw more. Cleaning everything, shampoo, comb. Okay, a few weeks later, more lice. I'm washing coats, bedding, no more stuffed animals in the room, shampoo, comb, and school nurse check every time. All good. This was taking hours out of our available time because besides fighting the mighty lice fight, her crazy teacher assigned a couple hours of homework every night, and it was work the 6-year-olds couldn't do on their own. It took adult assistants to understand and follow through the worksheets and problems. Then, one evening, her bus driver came around by supper time. She told me not to let anyone know what she had told me, but my daughter's bus seat partner, who had her hair down to her waist, always has had head lice. She told me that I could officially request a seat change, but the driver couldn't make it unless I requested it through the school. I thank her to this day. I teach in Detroit. I've seen so many young girls have this exact same thing happen to them over the years. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Their confidence, shine, happiness, it's like it's seeped out of them. It absolutely makes my blood boil. I've cried over it. Please tell your dad thank you from me and my colleagues, and most importantly from all of the students I've known who have had this happen to them. When I was in elementary school, I had my hair down past my butt. I could sit on it. A family that refused to ever deal with their kids' hair kept spreading lice all around our school, and I got it many times. My mother spent hours trying to get them out of my hair. I remember us being up till 3 a.m. on a school night, both of us crying as she tried to deal with it. Eventually, I learned that using a hairdryer on high heat would kill the bastards, so I stopped telling my parents when I got lice and just dealt with it myself because I felt so bad about it. My mom is a saint and I love her more than anything. I know how much it sucks to have it. Screw those bugs.